PBC has had over the past year. How do you reconcile this with the free TV model that most folks tied PBC to?
Well, there's still free. There's still free TV for boxing. It might not be what people conceptually thought, was going to be free TV, but guess what? You can't have, Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman and Sean Porter and Errol Spence and Deontay Wilder, routinely fighting on free television because of the demands of because of their salary demands. Just, from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense. All of those guys have fought on free TV, but guess what? When they fought on free TV, all people did was rip the fights.
Right.
Oh, this fight sucks. This is horrible.
Can't win, right?
Why is he fighting this guy? Why is he fighting that guy? He's fighting Leonard Bundu. That's the guy that Keith Thurman beat. And why is Keith Thurman fighting Louis Collazo? And, why is Deontay Wilder fighting, Gerald Washington? Why is he fighting Eric Molina? Why is he fighting this guy? Oh, this is terrible. Guess what? Now, you can't bring those guys and put them back. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. But guess what? You're building guys that are going to be the future stars, the Jesus Ramoses. And Kenneth and I went through one
Those are the words of Tim Smith, as Tim Smith explains damage controls, his take on PBC and the amount of PBC that we're having. And he brought up some interesting facts, or some interesting points, about why or who used to fight on PBC. Okay, and he mentioned you couldn't keep having fights like Keith Thurman and Deontay Wilder and Danny Garcia on free TV, constantly. And he said because when that happened, people complained. Well, people are still complaining. The only problem now worse is now they're complaining because we're getting fights like Mario Barrios versus Keith Thurman that we shouldn't fucking get. We shouldn't receive any of those. Those fights like that should supposed to be on free TV. And what Tim Smith is overlooking, he's overlooking the fact that they're putting that pay-per-view, or they putting these fights on pay-per-view because they don't want to pay the guarantee. Because they can't honor the guarantee of the fighters anymore. Because something happened to the budget. You guys remember that $925,000 deal, or almost close to $1 billion that Al Heyman had? That's why he was allowed and able to put these fights on PBC. There hasn't been that many fights on PBC since 2015, okay, to eat up those expenses, okay? And then a lot of those fights weren't really on pay-per-view, and then some of them were on pay-per-view. So the pay-per-view supposed to, do well. We had, who did we have there? I know we had all the Fury Wilders. I know we had Wilder Ortiz too. I think the first one was on PBC as well. I want to say that was on PBC. I know it was at the Barclays, but what he's saying is we got guys like Jesus Ramos and stuff like that. Well, yeah, those guys are on that, but then you have to also equate the opposition with who's fighting. Look at Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman hasn't been in the spotlight since 2019, before the pandemic or whatever. So why in the hell would you want him to come on free TV fighting someone that just lost to a smaller fighter? See, that makes no sense, and it's a dead giveaway how these guys try to cover up the fact that, hey, we're trying to show value to these fighters. No, what's wrong is these fighters are demanding the money that you agreed to pay them, and you can't pay them because you have no money. Counterpunch. And then what they do is, okay, we'll compensate because we'll put it on a pay-per-view card so then we can get an upside. But here's the problem. The upside only comes if the numbers are up. If the numbers are not up, okay, then you won't really have to worry about, or you can't depend on those numbers, because it has to make and meet a certain dollar amount. Okay, so I don't know what he's really talking about in this situation. It seems like the guys that were known for PBC and for free TV are now trying to be pushed as pay-per-view stars, when the guys that they're fighting are the same guys that we complained about they're fighting before. Nothing has changed. See, if there was a higher opposition, or there was actually fights we wanted to see, if Errol Spence fought a Keith Thurman, or Errol Spence fought a Terrence Crawford or something like that, that would be worthwhile. Wow, but that's not the case. Saying it's very sad how they're trying to, we can't give these guys their guarantee without putting it on pay-per-view. Okay, that's what it is. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Tim Smith's explanation of how and why so many fights are going on pay-per-view. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.